So now we got some tight end rankings.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about some tight ends.
Who wants to kick it off? I think I want to.
All right, John, then go ahead.
All
Who
right,
wants to
cool.
kick it off? I think I want to.
Well, one of
Go
you two want to
ahead.
start?
Just kick it off if you want to.
Brandon never wants to start these discussions.
No, I'm just saying, Justin. He asked the question and then literally said, "Never mind, I want to go." I was just making fun of that. John, go ahead, kick it off.
Thank you, my man.
You're welcome.
We talked about Pat Fryermuth before, and maybe to your surprise, he's not in my top 10. I do have him right outside on the cusp, though, with some names like Mike Goseki, a very good receiving tight end, Dawson Knox, a great athlete with Josh Allen in Buffalo, David Njoku, another tight end that every year just seems to make these ridiculous plays. He's a playmaker, and I don't think he was worth the contract the Browns gave him, and that's going to shake up this tight end market when a lot of these guys have their turn to get paid. I also like to mention Noah Fant as well in Seattle. A new beginning for him playing with not Russell Wilson, but Drew Lock. So we'll see how that goes for him. Starting off my list is a player that I've been waiting to break out for years, I feel like, since he was drafted in 2019. That is a guy that's often compared to Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson in Detroit. Last year, he was injured late in December. And I feel like with this Lions offense, it's dynamic. But man, like TJ Hawkinson is really the one player that to me can be the one that takes him over the top. You add in Jameson Williams, who is a game changing wide receiver prospect, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot, DJ Chark downfield. There's so many vertical threats. And then you got TJ Hawkinson at tight end, a guy that was picked in the top 15 for a reason. He can make plays, he can be a touchdown machine. And in the receiving game, I think he really can be a guy that's getting 900 plus yards, 60 catches. That is the one player I think can rise up on this leaderboard. But at number 9, I have Hunter Henry, a guy you guys are familiar with in New England. Last year, Brand was talking about before, played his first full season. That means a lot because in San Diego and Los Angeles, he was very talented. Another player that could score touchdowns, was reliable, but part of being reliable is staying healthy, and he couldn't do that. And that's always been the one thing that's marred his perception around the league, that he can't play a full 16 to 17 game season. Now he does that. Scored 9 TDs last year, a career high for him. I really think Hunter Henry can climb a little bit higher, and we haven't seen his best football quite yet, still at just 27 years old. So I have Hunter Henry at number 9. Coming in right before him, still got Zach Ertz. He's not what he was in Philadelphia, and I think maybe after the season, he may not be in my top 10, just because I don't really trust Kyler Murray throwing in the middle of the field. But Ertz has consistently produced, and last year in Arizona made a big impact. And you can't deny the fact for a team like the Cardinals that haven't had a high-end tight end for the longest time now, Zach Ertz makes a big-time difference as a receiver, and to me is still one of the top ones in the NFL, which is why I have him at number 8. Number 7, this guy's just a star in his role and is very underrated, and that is Dalton Schultz in Dallas. I always feel like you talk about Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Amari's gone now, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. No one's ever talking about Schultz, but he's a very good blocker, a very good receiver, and just like Hunter Henry, I think he's still improving going into his 5th NFL season. Now, what does stink for the Cowboys is they're probably not going to be able to keep him because of how much money they have tied up to everything else in the roster. So, whatever team does get him after this upcoming year with the Cowboys, I think will be very happy getting a guy that maybe can climb into the top 6 in this list. The reason why it's not top 6 is because I have not Dalton Schultz, Dallas Goddard, mixing up names now, Dallas Goddard's another guy who's very underrated, very good blocker. It's a big part of this, and also a very good receiver. Now, in Philadelphia, I don't know if he's necessarily going to get his shine playing with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Keep calling him Devontae. But I do think Dallas can still put up, if he can stay healthy, 750 yards plus, 6 or 7 touchdowns. To me, he's another guy that is very good in his role. Then we get into the top 5. It's the high-end list. We have a guy who's one of the best tight end prospects of all time coming out of Florida, and Kyle Pitts. Last year wasn't a big-time red zone target, but he was a player that had over 900 yards. And like the player I'm about to mention next is just an absolute mismatch, no matter who you put on him. With this position, he really is just a giant wide receiver that's too big for safeties, too fast for most linebackers, and too big for most cornerbacks. And he's basically just like a supersized wide receiver in Kyle Pitts. I think for Atlanta to have him and Drake London together is one of the most exciting all-around weapon rooms in the NFL. Because Pitts, he is why. I mean, the dude is gonna be the best tight end in the NFL, I think, for a very long time, given how productive he was as a rookie. Number 4, we got Darren Waller. Had some injuries last year between his ankle and another injury that took him out for 4 games. But I mean, this is a player who had back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons. When it comes to being a mismatch, his route running for his size is very uncanny. And I think he's a player who just broke out into the scene as a Hard Knock star in 2019 and only added to that with basically after getting cut by the Ravens, becoming a all-pro tight end. This dude really is world class. He's an awesome athlete. He's humble. I think he's come a long way. He's a player I root for all the time. I wish my Steelers could have him. I'm just glad he's not still in Baltimore because if the Ravens had Mark Andrews and Darren Waller, that would be by far the best tight end duo I've ever seen. The first one that comes to mind is Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez, but that would be even better. Andrews is not only a touchdown machine, but he is the biggest weapon in that Ravens offense to go along with that running game and play action, and he's a pain in the ass. He's an awesome tight end. He's a perfect fit for Baltimore, and quite frankly, you can make a case he's top 2 for the entire position. Now, I wrestled with 1 and 2 because I think the most complete tight end in the NFL gets knocked down a peck just because he isn't durable and consistent enough, which is why George Kittle will be in second place. Number 1, Travis Kelce. 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You just can't make that stuff up. Whether it's with Alex Smith or Patrick Mahomes, he elevates the players around him. He basically is number 1 wide receiver at tight end. And while I don't think he's a better blocker than Kittle, he's not. Kittle's the best blocking tight end out of this bunch. Travis Kelce is a killer. So, to recap my top 10, I have TJ Hawkinson at number 10, Hunter Henry at number 9, Zach Ertz at number 8, Dalton Schultz at number 7, Dallas Goddard at number 6, Kyle Pitts at number 5, Darren Waller at number 4, Mark Andrews at number 3, George Kittle at number 2, and Travis Kelce at number 1.
We have a few things that are a little different. I left honorable mention for my list at least was Zach Ertz. Just left him off the list. At number 10, like you, I love TJ Hawkinson. I think after this year, he'll probably jump into that top 7, top 6
Ooh,
area.
that's a high
Yeah,
bar.
I think he's a baller, man. I really think if they start feeding that guy the ball, he's an animal at the position. Number 9, underrated tight end to me is Mike Goseki. I think that's a go-getter, man, running down the seams. That guy can make some plays, man. And he's fast, career high in receiving yards. Not looked at as much as the red zone target this past season, but he scored a couple, I think, over 5 in the season before. At number 8, I got Hunter Henry. And when you think of Hunter Henry, I think there's no better word to describe him but just consistency. You know what you're going to get from him every week. He's a good blocker. He'll make the catches when it's thrown to him, and he's a big-time red zone threat. Number 7, I got Dalton Schultz, man. That dude is a stud. 78 receptions, 808 yards, 8 touchdowns last season in an offense that had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott. That guy was a force to be reckoned with in that offense. Number 6, I got your boy Kyle Pitts, man. Kyle Pitts he probably will be in the top 4 after the season is over. I feel like there's a lot left to be seen, and that's saying a lot coming off of a rookie season where he has 1,000 yards. Only 1 touchdown, but they'll start coming, and when they do, they'll be there in bunches.
Yeah, the Falcons have always struggled in the red zone. I think that's part of the reason why.
So I got Kyle Pitts at 6. At number 5, I'm a big fan of Dallas Goddard. Since he was a rookie in the league, I feel like Philadelphia misused them. They really should have been using Zach Ertz and Goddard like Gronk and Hernandez, but they didn't do that. But Goddard is a stud. 56 receptions, 830 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's just getting better and better. He's still young, and he's building that relationship with Jalen Hurts. I feel like this is a year where he may eclipse 1,000 yards. Number 4, I got Darren Waller. Now, this season he was hurt, but just to recap what he did the year before that, 107 catches, 1,196 yards, and 9 touchdowns. That dude is an absolute monster, and he's in contention to be. You can argue it. I'd say it talent-wise, he might be the most talented tight end in football. With him and Kyle Pitts, they're definitely the 2 most dynamic ones, I'd say. At number 3, I got George Kittle. Nobody's tougher than that guy. Nobody's tougher. I wanted to put him number 2, but honestly, the more and more I think about it as a fantasy football fan, I had to go with Mark Andrews at number 2. Coming off of a season, 107 catches, 1,361 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I'm telling you guys, if you're not jumping out of your seats to draft this guy in fantasy football this year, you're absolutely nuts. Don't let him fall. Do not. Do not. Because I'll draft him. At number 1, I got Travis Kelce. Just like you said, John, 6 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. You know what you're getting from him year in and year out. One of the best route runners at the position. Doesn't get glorified for his blocking as much, but he is a decent blocker. But most of all, he's a weapon in every phase of the game. It's going to be different now. No Tyreek Hill there to, just drag everybody downfield. So I'm curious to see how this season is going to look for him with Tyreek Hill out.
Could you recap your list real quick?
Yeah, at number 10, I have TJ Hawkinson. Number 9, Mike Goseki. Number 8, Hunter Henry. Number 7, Dalton Schultz. 6, Kyle Pitts. 5, Dallas Goddard. Number 4, Darren Waller. Number 3, George Kittle. Number 2, Mark Andrews. And number 1, Travis Kelce.